welcome. Join us today for a conversation with Agent Ario, who is a trusted realtor and a savvy investor since 2010. As an investor himself, Ario brings vast experience and a strong track record. Whether supporting seasoned investors or first-time homebuyers, he is known for being heart-centered and results-driven. His peers describe him as a marketing guru and master negotiator. Ario is a consistent top producer and ongoing award recipient. Clients praise him for being attentive, caring, and one with strong values. They love his creativity, connections, ability to strategize, and execute stellar plans seamlessly. Formerly in corporate finance, he's skilled in economics, finance, and market analysis. Ario gives back through the Acton Rotary Club, Food for Kids, Optimist International, 100 Men Who Care Halton Hills, and local jails. Please enjoy our conversation with Agent Ario. Okay. Hello, everybody. This is Steven here from Community Development Halton, and I'm joined today by Agent Ario. Agent Ario, would you like to provide a brief introduction for yourself?
Thank you, Steven. Thanks for having me. Yeah, as you guys know, you've probably seen me on social media as Agent Ario. I live in Acton for about 4 years now. My fiance and I moved here, fell in love with the community, and one of the things we recognized was how much the community worked together here and how close they were. And so we want to take part in that. So real estate agent is my business, but people is really my passion. So we're all about connecting people, and helping build the community. So we're very involved in the community in many ways, which I'm sure we'll jump into later on in the show here.
Sounds great. Yeah, we're excited to have you here and to chat about some of the work you do in Acton and also just your experience as a resident. And for context, Ario and I met at our Near and Dear Acton event back in March here at the Roxy Center. And so some of our kind of responses will be based a little bit on our experiences from that event, but also, just about the community more broadly. So I guess to start, Ario, what are you working on right now that you're most excited about?
Yeah, so one of the most recent things that we're kind of working on, which I haven't told you about yet, Steven, so this will be a surprise for you too.
Oh,
So the town of Halton Hills has a program called Hey Neighbor. You might be familiar with it. They do a couple cool initiatives. One of them is their intention is to bring the community together. Let's just say that's their goal in a nutshell. And so they actually sent out flyers to our entire area. And they said, hey, we're going to hold a community meetup. If you're interested in coming out, come on by. And so about 30 of us showed up, which was a great turnout, about 5% of the people that they hit up in our area. And out of that, some community issues came up, things that we would like to see, some challenges, etc. But myself and one other individual, we actually stepped up and said, hey, why don't we, let's create a platform for us to connect. And so we started up a Facebook group. Right. So BCN group. So Bovis Community Neighborhood Group. If you're in the areas between Wallace and Tanners, north of 7, that's the group for you to join. So it's pretty new. You can find us on Facebook. It's publicly visible, so you can see it. And the intention behind that group is, again, one, for the community to be, connected so that we can communicate, talk. But two, also to do things like beautifying the neighborhood. One of our first initiatives was going to be to do a park cleanup because that was one of the challenges that came up in that local meeting. Thankfully, the town stepped up, so we didn't have to pick up poop, which is always nice.
Always nice.
Yeah, but on June 28th, actually, of this year, 2025, we will be hosting our first block party, which is very exciting for us. So yeah, so the town is going to come on to Rosemary Road, which is the street I also live on, and we're going to close off a section of it. And basically, we're going to have all kinds of fun activities for adults and kids, but it'll be a lot of it will be geared towards kids. So, we haven't ironed out the fine details, but there'll probably be some paint face painting, some food, some drink, those kinds of things, and a lot of those, lawn games like the lawn darts, the cornhole toss, like those kinds of things, right? So that's really been exciting for us because not only, it's given me the opportunity to knock on people's door, not just for real estate purposes, right? So I get to knock on people's door, I get to meet more people, talk to more people, and it's really, it's been received so well. So many people are like, oh my God, we used to do these block parties, and since COVID, we haven't seen them. And so that was really, heartwarming for us, right? We thought, yeah, like what a great thing to be able to do and bring the neighbors together to hang out and, people telling me stories about the stuff they used to do, stories from other communities, other
Mm.
countries, even where they used to have block parties. So we got a lot of people, and people are volunteering too, which is fantastic because at one point it was me and then another gentleman and another gentleman, and now we have like 7 or 8 volunteers so far that are willing to contribute. And as I continue to spread the word, and as we all continue to spread the word, it seems to be growing, right? I think everybody kind of wants it. It's just
Mm.
maybe we didn't have the energy or the effort behind it to do something about it per se, right? So that's what's been really exciting for us.
I think that's so cool. I haven't been to a block party in many years, but they used to be a thing, and I think you're right. Since COVID, it's not as common. But what a great way to. I love what your emphasis on like sharing stories like that. That's really exciting.
Yeah,
Um,
you should hear the stories, and that's the cool. There's people that have been living here for 30, 40, 50, 60 years. There's a lady that I met here who bought where in the same street I am in the new development in the 60s and 70s, late 60s. She bought from the builder direct. So she's been here since day
mm,
one, right? And just the cool stories you'll come across. And you know what? That's also what has drawn a lot of new families into Acton, right? When you drive here, you do see kids playing hockey on the street, right? You
mm.
do see them hanging out. It's not all about, digital games inside your house by yourself. So it's been so exciting to kind of, get that reinvigorated.
Well, I mean, there's so many strings I'd want to pull at here, but I guess in a nutshell, why is all of that important to you?
Yeah, I mean, we moved to Acton because we wanted a change from the busy city life, right?
Hmm.
And when we came here, we really appreciated how community oriented we were. And I mean, my neighbor shoveled my driveway more than I did the first year I moved in, right? I'm always out and about, right? Like working in real estate,
Yeah, here,
nine
there,
to
and
five is
everywhere.
non-existent, right? You're going to see clients and you're traveling and all this, and I come home and my driveway's shoveled. And that little gesture to me meant so much. I felt so grateful. I was like, wow, my neighbors, they see that my driveway has snow on it and I'm not home and they shoveled it, you know? And it's not an isolated incident. There's other things like cutting the grass, like anytime I've been out front doing something, neighbor walks over, hey, you need a hand. And these kinds of things to me are very powerful, right? Like I'm a big people person and that was just it really moved us, right? So we were like we fell in love with the community and we hang out with our neighbors, we do barbecues, we do social events with them and we never really did that before in Mississauga. Like we lived, my parents, for
Mm.
example, when I lived with them, they still live in the same house. We're talking 30 years and they have one friend, that's a neighbor, but like they say hi and bye, but they never hung out with them, right? So it was a very different vibe for me. So that really felt good. And we want to, start a family eventually. And that's kind of the environment we'd like to have, right? For our kids to
Mm.
feel that community vibe where it's not about judgment and, oh, I don't know these strangers and everyone's trying to help each other out and look out for each other. So, the small town vibe, I guess you can call it, is what really is it's love. It's just like it feels good, right?
Mm.
So that's what it's been for us.
Wow, I mean, that really speaks to something I noticed that I noted just in when I was learning about Acton through a survey that we had put out around sense of belonging, and Acton had one of the higher Acton residents kind of shared with us that they felt a higher sense of belonging or community connection than elsewhere in Halton region, which is I think really reinforced in what you're saying there, what you're speaking to there, that small town feel and that love that you feel and the help that your neighbors have given you and that you're giving back by bringing people together. Like that's really exciting. And I wonder if that's actually the answer to the next question, but that what's already happening that you'd like to see more of?
Yeah, I mean, it's related. Yeah, for sure, it's
Hmm.
related to that kind of stuff. But I think what we need is some more grassroots stuff. Hence the Facebook group that we started up where we can create initiatives. We're talking about doing another community garden. Even though there's one in Acton, we thought, hey, why not have one in this neighborhood so it's more easily accessible? Maybe more
Right.
people will use it, right? And we've also opened up the platform, right? We said, guys, like this is the place to give your ideas, suggestions, whatever. Like let's do whatever the community wants. I'm one person, right? There's, literally thousands of us here. So, but what I would say is I've noticed a few things. One of the, I'm a big service club guy myself. So I'm part of the Acton Rotary Club. I'm part of Optimist International. And I think what those guys do, what we do is really, it's amazing. For example, last night I was at the Optimist Hall. We had the oratorical. So we had, seven students competing, doing their speeches in front of people. The youngest guy was 10 years old. It was
Oh
remarkable
my.
just to
Wow.
see, like, imagine yourself at 10 years old. I don't think I would have. I don't know. I don't remember wanting to do a speech at 10. Let's just put it that way,
Definitely
right?
not.
This guy was incredible. He stood up there with confidence, gestures, eye contact. It was really something to see, right? So, giving back to the youth, the community, and where the gaps are. So, I think one of the things that also came up in Near and Dear Acton was
Mm.
I find there's a gap in bringing it all together, right? We have people who care. We have people who are willing to give and willing to do stuff. It seems like it might be a little bit sprawled, a little bit too much, such that, you know, what I do by myself, what you do by yourself, maybe one plus one doesn't necessarily equal two, right? It could be a greater thing. So I think one of that, a central location, and we had this conversation a little bit about where we could bring all our resources together. Like I saw one of the statistics you guys had posted, and I might be misquoting it. I think it was 100 or 120 um, food insecurity or food essentially organizations in Halton,
Yeah.
right? Which I thought was a crazy high number, right? And fantastic that we have 100 or 120 different organizations willing to do that, but would it make more sense if they came together, right? And I know that there is some stuff. There's the food network where the different various groups come together and discuss their shortfalls, their gaps, how they can help each other, support each other, and all that. But that's what I would love to see, a place where this all kind of comes together and make it a little bit more efficient and hopefully more powerful so that we can, help more people.
Oh, 100%. I think when we're able to consolidate our resources and our services and supports rather than working in silos, like that really does build up our collective capacity to meet the need in the community. And when we talk about food specifically, um, I think the statistic that I came across most recently was, in a survey that we sent out for Halton food services across the region. They all reported an average of a 25% increase in usage of food services across the region, and Acton is definitely part of that. And so, yeah, that question of like, how do we bridge those gaps to bring it all together, as you put it? Um, that's such a powerful goal to have. So like if that were possible, and I think it is, um, what would you like, want, or need from the community to make that successful?
Yeah, so I think this is why I like service clubs, right? Because service clubs is a gathering of people, resources. It's a central location. It's got somewhat of a reputation and, some visibility and presence in the community. And we don't give to one, cause. We often pick, we have mandates where we'll pick, for example, Optimist International is very much youth oriented, right? Acton Rotary, we're actually working on the mandate currently. Myself and another one of the members, we're working on building up an updated, mandate because we haven't updated in a few years. So, what I love about service clubs again is that people coming together. But one of the biggest struggles that we have as a service club is membership. So what you'll find is typically members are, a lot older. And it makes sense, right? As you get older, your kids have grown up. If you have kids, you're more established financially. Maybe you're retired and you're like, hey, I want to do some volunteer. How can I give back now, right? The problem is when you have an average age of like say 70, right? There's
Mm,
only so much energy left in the body, right? And so That's one of the things we've noticed, right? So at Rotary, we have 18 members. At Optimus, we have 52 members. And I'm not kidding. If I was going to guess, the average age at Optimus is probably like 60, 70, right?
Okay.
And at Rotary, it's probably just a little bit younger than that. But that's one of the things we want to really figure out is how to bring people together, right? So what's in it for you as a person who's looking to give back, or maybe you don't even know that Rotary exists, or maybe you don't even know that Optimus exists, right? A lot of people don't, right? I'm so surprised, especially the younger generations that I speak to, right? Like if they have a kid on a hockey team that we support, then they'll know of us. But a lot of people don't. Right. So I think that's one of the things I'd like to see is, some of the younger generations. And I'm considering myself
Mm-hmm.
young. I don't know. Someone might look at me and say I'm old, but, let's just say like 50 and under, like that
Sure.
category.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because keep this in mind too. The world has changed, right? So the skill sets of a 30-year-old right now versus a 70-year-old, especially when it comes to technology, it's day and night,
Oh
right?
yeah.
If you grew up on laptops and iPads and cell phones, right? Versus somebody who came across the internet for the first time in, let's say, early 2000, like that's a different vibe. So what I also see is, part of the challenge is how do we advertise, right? How do
Hmm.
we put ourselves out there? So our social media platforms are, you know, let's say basic, right? If we had some more, fresh eyes, fresh skill sets that could bring the tech and really take it to the next level, I'm sure it could be something bigger, right? So that's where I'd see, I think a lot of it will come together for us is as we have some younger generations stepping up, um, and then really taking it to the next level with certain skills, like especially in tech.
And I actually that's a really solid point. That is a conversation I remember coming up at Near and Dear Acton in March, was around like that question of like how do we get information out there to folks in the community and folks at different age groups specifically. And social media is one way. And I you mentioned earlier the Facebook page for the neighborhood that you've set up, and I think that's a really solid foundation to build from. Um,
Hmm. Hmm.
yeah, how do we communicate ways to get involved in events and things to people of all different age groups to bring people
Yeah.
together?
Yeah, and as a guy in sales, like I take an integrated approach, right? Because I know if you focus on one thing, you're going to miss out on the other people, right? So if you do digital, well, the person who's not on social media or who doesn't want to be on social media, right? And typically they tend to be higher, average, higher age, but you're going to miss out on them. They're not going to see it, right? So we kind of do an integrated approach in our business, and I think it would be as similar. We do digital and traditional, let's call it,
Mm-hmm.
right? So I'm knocking on people's doors, right? Which takes a
Yeah.
lot of time. But I'll tell you, it's way more effective than me sending you a newsletter or maybe making a post on Facebook that you might or might not see, right? Because we're all, people are competing for your attention so much these days. But when you open the door and I'm standing there, well, unless you tell me to, politely leave or impolitely leave, then we're talking, right? You can't get rid of me.
Yeah, and it's like a
You know?
like a face-to-face interaction, and yeah, I think that's something a lot of us kind of miss, like when like you said, there's so much competing for our attention digitally. It's nice when you can have that interaction in person.
For sure. And in Acton, what I noticed is a guy who's knocked on many, many doors and done lead generation with people I don't know. It's a very different vibe. People are very much more receiving and warm. I've had people invite me in and say, "Hey, come on in, let's talk.
Oh,
It's cold, stand inside. Can I get you something to drink?" And so that's why, again, it builds on that feeling. I'm talking to people. Excuse me. The other day, I was standing in front of someone's house for 40 minutes talking to them.
wow.
Excuse me.
I love when that happens. Yeah. Um, so, from where you stand now, Ario, what's the best thing that could happen?
The best thing that could happen. Ooh, that's a
It's an
big
easy
question.
one.
Yeah.
Not easy, but
Yeah, I think again, I think the community events will really help it grow. I believe as people see, they'll believe and then they'll want to get more involved, right? So, the best thing that can happen is just people to show up, right? With no expectations. Show up and let's see
hmm.
what happens, right? And be willing to give. yeah, we're all busy, right? I'm a very busy guy myself, but I've made it a conscious decision to dedicate a certain percentage of my life and my time to giving back, right? And you know what? The benefits from it, and this I'm saying that not because I'm talking about it for me, I'm talking about it for others, because a lot of people naturally human nature is, what's in it for me, right?
Hmm.
And I could tell you the benefits have been far, far more, than it cost me. I'll tell you that, right? The problem is if you go in with that attitude, somehow it just doesn't work. You got to go in with the right attitude, that I'm doing this for the right reasons.
Well, it's something we see a lot of in our, community-based work around Halton, like the benefits of the social benefits of giving. Like we when if somebody's asking us for help or we're able to give something, it's like, you're recognizing one that you have gifts to give, which is a beautiful thing. Whether it's your time or your energy or your just I don't like yeah, like whatever you're bringing, like if you're able to gift that to another person or to the community, it's yeah, it's very healthy, or like for each of us individually and together. Yeah, it's
Yeah, and I think what I'm saying is be yourself, right? Because and,
yeah.
and I think that's what you're kind of touching on. Like everyone brings something to the table, right? So find what it is you're good at, find what it is you're passionate about, and give. And you don't have to give a lot. Like I'm part of several groups. One of the groups, 100 Men Who Care Halton Hills, we meet once a quarter, so 4 times a year for 1 hour. So like with commute, let's say 2 hours, that's 8 hours a year, and the commitment is $400 a year. Again, it's not a huge commitment if you're busy, no problem. Like there's always a little bit of time I believe that people can give. So I think that people need to dig down, that would be the best thing. Dig down deep inside and ask yourself, what's the bare minimum I could give here? And I give at
Hmm.
least that, right? And it's like that 80-20 rule. There's a lot of people, you'll see them in the community that are doing tremendous amount of work. They're doing the large majority of the heavy lifting, right? But we do need help. We need help.
Oh, 100%. And I mean, even something as like the example you brought up earlier of your neighbor that shoveled your laneway when you first moved there, like, that's and what that meant for you. Like, I mean, you'll probably remember that for forever, right? Like that somebody did that. And it's yeah, I think everybody has gifts that they can give, and it's great when we can explore what those are.
Yeah, and I really hope people open their mind because it doesn't have to be
Hmm.
financially, let me give this or let me volunteer at this
Right.
formal thing. Go talk to your neighbor. I got some aging neighbors beside me, widows, etc. I go out for lunch with them. I just go by and talk to them, make sure they're okay. I check in on them. I text them every so often, like, "Hey, you doing all right? You need anything?" In the winter time, try to help them out.
Mm.
Make sure they're set up, like with stuff. You see, you see your neighbor struggling to do something to help them out, right? Like it goes a
Yeah.
long way. So literally, it could be a phone call, right? Like there's people who, I'm learning so much about this through the distress center and stuff. So
Hmm.
there's people who just need somebody to talk to. They don't need money from you. They don't need just want to talk, you
Just want
know?
to talk. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, that's amazing. So uh Ario, who else is doing important or interesting work in the community that you appreciate?
So I mentioned Optimus International.
Hmm.
Really, I love what they do. They're really supporting the youth. So I think they're supporting the future essentially. Um, the Rotary Club as well. What we do there is also incredible. And again, I'll say all service clubs, right? So I'm not part of the other service clubs, but there's Kingsman's, there's the Lions Club. Even when you get into the Legion, right? So,
Oh yeah.
by the way, I think this is worth mentioning too, because a lot of people who live in Acton, myself included at one point, didn't know about all these things going on. I.e., about 3 weeks ago, we went to a comedy show at the Legion, right?
Oh.
It was a $20 event. They had music, drinks, food. It was fantastic, right? Saturday night out, again, it's an opportunity for you to go to the community events, meet people, or just have some fun, right? No, nothing required from you. It was $20, right? And they brought in a comedian that was pretty great. So I would say tap into the local service clubs. And I'm sorry, my
Hmm.
cold is really is really kicking my butt right now. But yeah, tap into the local service clubs. If you follow them on social media, they're always posting about, line dancing, comedy shows. We have a spring gala coming up where we're going to have like a live auction. It's a lot of fun. It's a tapas dinner. There's the wine and cheese show, wine, cheese, and beer show. Sorry, I should say, right? So there's all these really cool events. So if you actually want to learn more about them, reach out to myself or somebody at the service club, or just look them up on social media. There's so much going on, and I think these are the guys that are really holding the community together, bringing the events together.
Hmm. That's so inspirational. I mean those are some really solid next steps for anyone that's interested in getting more involved in the Acton community. So thanks for sharing all of that. And you mentioned if anybody wanted to get in touch with you, is there a good way for folks to reach out?
Yeah, so if you look me up online, you'll see my phone number. I'm happy to share it. It's 416-809-5589. You can also reach me at my email, Ario at agentario.com, or our website at agentario.com. So any one of those ways. And I do want to again just emphasize this, for example, as a member of Optimus and Rotary, and not to make a shameless plug, but just to say, hey, if you're interested, you can actually come to our meetings and dinner's on
Okay.
us. You can come in. Yeah, you don't have to sign up, commit. So, just say, hey, I'm thinking about it. Last night I brought a guest to Optimus Hall, and he was like, hey, this is fantastic, man. You got a great prime rib dinner, and he got to watch the oratorical and see what we do and how we do it. And I think he's probably going to join. He says that's what his thoughts are. So again, whether you join or don't join, that's not the point. But come out, check it out.
Well, it sounds like a wonderfully welcoming space, and I mean that's what community is all about. So, I mean that's great. Yeah, and you can't go wrong with prime rib.
Oh man, it was great. Yeah, yeah. And again, a local business that it's not their business to cook, but they have a farm, Cody's Cows. They
Oh
set
wow.
up the whole thing, and it was fantastic.
Oh, well, I really enjoyed this conversation chatting about Acton with you, Ario. And yeah, thanks for all these ideas and for your perspectives and your sharing your own experiences living here and working here. And um yeah, this has been a fabulous conversation. If anyone's interested in learning more, we'll share Ario's contact information in the show notes. Yeah, so thank you very much again, Ario.
Thanks for having me. And yeah, anyone who wants, like, our Instagram has quite a few of these things I talked about. You'll see like what Rotary's doing, what Optimus is doing. We also have a show called Local Love that we did together. So you'll
Hmm.
see some of the local businesses. If you're interested in finding out who they are, what they do, you could learn so much on there. Be happy to talk to anybody. Feel free to reach out. Thanks for having me, Stephen.
Oh, thank you. This has been a great conversation with Agent Ario Moghaddam, and thank you again. We'll hopefully chat with you soon.
See you guys.